Welcome to the Higher Performance Man podcast. I'm your host, John Fayocavitz. On this show, I interview successful men who have built impressive careers in businesses, founders, CEOs, senior leaders, and professionals who have operated at a high level for years. We talk about what actually made them successful. So the goal is simple, to learn directly from men who have done it so we can apply these insights into our own careers, businesses, and lives and continue raising our own standard of performance. The show is sponsored by Prime Performance Method. The Prime Performance Method is designed specifically for high-performing men who have achieved success in their own careers but feel like their body and energy have taken a hit along the way. I help busy professional men regain strength, lose weight, and feel years younger within 8 weeks without long workouts, extreme dieting, or disrupting their demanding schedules. If you are a high-performance man who wants to feel strong and energized as you are successful, just message me at John Fayocavitz on LinkedIn. On today's show, we have Cary Prejean, founder of Strategic Business Advisors from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Thanks, Cary, so much for joining us today.
Hey, great to be here, John. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Just tell us a little bit. I see as Strategic Business Advisors. Explain to our audience what really that entails.
Well, it's sort of a comprehensive, not sort of, it is a comprehensive approach to helping small to medium-sized business owners. Everybody talks about take their business to the next level. What does that mean? And most people really aren't sure, but really I have four things I do. Number one is I can help you double your net profits in a year or less. 12 strategies. You don't have to make any big moves in any one of them. But little moves in 12 different places will help you double your net profit in a year. But a lot of times it happens in less time. The second is, how do you get the business owner out of the day-to-day of the business? Because that's what happens after they grow the business so big. They're micromanaging, looking over everybody's shoulder, making sure they're doing it, quote, the owner's way, right? Because it's this, this is my baby, and I'm not going to trust you, my employee. Take care of my baby the way I would. So they'll make sure everything's done exactly right. And what we do is we build a system of processes to run the business so the owner can step back and do what they're really good at and what their most valuable contribution to the business is, which is going out, finding strategic relationships, chasing possibilities, turning them into revenue. Secondly, everybody talks about managing by the numbers. Well, what we help people do is not only follow numbers, but follow the right numbers that are going to have the most impact on their business. What I call actionable financial data, right?
Okay.
So we get a weekly dashboard of all the KPIs they need to be looking at. And my experience of the last 40 plus years has been whatever you monitor and measure regularly improves.
Okay.
So we look at the right numbers, we monitor them, we measure them. And by looking at that, the owner is just going to naturally take the right action to improve those things. And finally, long term, how do you keep your business from being dashed on the rock, so to speak, because of everything that's out there that's pushing against your business? Government, right, technology, your suppliers, your competitors, changing tastes in the marketplace, bad employees, whatever. So one of the things to do is that rather than just take the blows as they come, how do you design your business into the future in a way that's going to satisfy you the most? Long-term strategic planning. So those are the four things.
Great. Well, from what I'm understanding, you tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like, in which we're going to talk about a little bit later here, is having a total balance.
Yeah.
Okay. Like you said, getting the business owner not to be always in his business at all times.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We work on how much can we get you working on your business. We're actually freeing you to where you go from being a business operator to a business owner. Because most business owners are really business operators. Without them, the business dies.
Right.
You're not an owner then, you're just an operator. And you become a real owner when the business can go on. You can take 4 weeks off, you can go to Europe for the summer, you can do whatever you want. I mean, most business owners I know, they can't be away that long, but
no.
To have the ability to do that. Or if some family event comes up and you want to be able to take, say, 10 days off to go another part of the country for some family reunion, wedding, something. To have that ability where when you leave, the place is still running because you have a system of processes, good people who are in alignment with what your business is about and you.
Awesome.
And that the business will continue. It'll go on without you. It doesn't need you there to baby it, to rush in, be the white knight, to put the pin in the back of the hand grenade, all the rest of that crazy stuff most business owners go through on a daily basis.
Great, great, great. Well, next I'd like to start by asking a question I like to ask all my guests, and it's really boils. What is the biggest lesson that you have learned so far that has helped you become successful in your business?
Probably the biggest lesson is what separates those who succeed from those who don't is persistence.
Okay.
Right. It's the ones who never quit.
Right.
They're resilient. They never quit. They just keep coming. They can't, if they hit a roadblock, they hit some obstacle some way, they don't quit. They may not come back and attack it the same way over and over again. That's just kind of insanity. But they're going to find other ways around it, find other options, find other ways to get things done. They don't quit. As opposed to the ones that don't succeed are the ones that hit an obstacle, hit enough of them, and at some point they stop and they say,
yeah,
I can't do this.
Yeah. And it's the same in my field also, where it's, when I'm trying to help people to gain energy or lose weight or something like that, they hit an obstacle and they just say, done, I'm done.
Yeah. See, it didn't work.
Right. It doesn't work. So let me try something new. Okay. So they go on to the next shiny object and then it doesn't work from there. Okay.
Yeah. Especially weight loss, it's like, well, let me try this pill. Well, let me try that diet.
That pill and that shots that I can go into hours of that, about that Ozempic stuff and GLPs.
Yeah.
So, but, well, thank you. Well, next thing I like to, when you're obviously you've built a very successful business, and I often hear from people that I'm on the podcast that their businesses have thrived in other areas of their lives. Okay. Have suffered. Okay. So you have a great business, but something else is suffering, be it your health, relationships, or anything. What did you do, or what steps have you taken to avoid that?
Well, it was a time that I was working 80 to 100 hours a week, pretty much 7 days a week. I was driving about 40,000 miles a year. I had 3 offices, 16 employees. I was making a ton of money, but I was not having any fun. So at some point I realized it's like, you can make all this money, but if you're not enjoying your life, what's the point? So I scaled it back. I eventually got down to where now my office is in my home. I outsource the work I need done that I don't do well or that I don't like to do. I have some accountants in India that I work with. I have I guess she is a VA. She's in Canada. I have another couple in the Philippines. And a lot of the stuff that I don't do well or don't like to do, I outsource to different contractors. Okay. So now it's just me. I mean, I've worked more than 40 hours, but I'm working on stuff that I really enjoy with people that I like working with, business owners.
You're doing the things you enjoy and outsourcing the things you don't.
Right. Okay. And, I was like, this goes back to when, the early 2000s, when I was working all these hours, had all these offices, employees, and all. I was doing what a lot of my clients are doing that I try and correct.
Right.
So, I've been there, I've done that. I've got the T-shirt, as they say. I've fallen into the same trap a lot of my clients have fallen into, thinking that they have to do it, they have to carry the ball, they have to do it all, and just constantly frustrated with why don't these employees get it? Right. And what I didn't get, and what my clients don't get, is they train their employees unconsciously. They train their employees to only take things so far.
Okay.
Right. Because if you think outside the box, you take some initiative, you do it the way the boss wants to do it, you can get your hand slapped. Well, that's not the way I do it. I can't recall how many times I said that. Even though somebody solved the problem, well, that's not the way I'd have done it.
Right.
It's solved.
Good. So what I'm thinking, what I'm hearing also is, when you just brought this up, you're working with business owners, correct? Or are you working? Or are you just working with, individuals, business owners who have employees where they go in?
Yeah.
Okay. And what's the largest company do you have a lot of Big companies, or you're small business, right?
No, I'm not any multinational entities. Generally, the biggest client I ever worked with, well, it's also the client that I worked with the longest, like 25 years. And we started out in like 1990, where he's doing about 1 million to a year. By the
Oh,
time I stopped working with him in 2015, got him to get his own full-time CFO, he was doing about 75 million.
oh, jeez.
Yeah. Now, since then, because of some of
Wow.
the stuff we set up before I left, he has now gone from being a distributor to being mainly a manufacturer. He's gone from selling in the Southeast United States to pretty much around the United States, also export stuff to South America, Asia, and the Middle East. Not
Okay.
Europe yet, my understanding, because the environmental regulatory stuff they have in Europe. But
Right.
now his revenues, he's bought an engineering firm in the meantime. And I think his revenues combined all companies now approaching $250 million
Oh, man.
in 10 years, from 75 million to $250 million in 10 years. But it's
Okay.
because when I left, a lot of strategic things have been set up for, okay, these are some possibilities we're headed toward. It can only expand and expound from
Right.
here. And
Right.
yeah, so
Okay. Great. Well, my next question would be, what is your secret, okay, to maintaining a healthy balance in all areas of your life? I know you said you cut it back from 100 some hours a week to 40. Is that 40 a good number to keep it at, or do you want to get down lower than that?
well, yeah, actually, I work a little more than 40 hours a week. And again, I don't necessarily work 8 hours every day. I mean, some days I work 12, 14 hours. I
Okay.
typically work at least a few hours on a Saturday, a couple hours on a Sunday. Some of my clients, they like to meet on the weekends because they don't have the business going on Saturday and Sunday. In fact,
Right. Okay.
my probably my favorite client I meet with every Sunday at 5 o'clock my time, 6 o'clock their time,
Right.
because
Okay.
it's their quiet time, Sunday evening.
So do you have any hobbies or any things that you do, like you golf, or do you do anything? What do you do for yourself outside
Yeah,
of work?
I quit golf over 20 years ago because I just sucked at it. I
So
took
what do you do for
lessons.
fun?
Well, I
What do
have
you
a
do to relax? Let's put it
yeah,
this way.
I
What
have
do
a
you do?
vegetable garden. I like to cook and bake.
Okay.
Um, I like to ride my bike.
Okay.
Now again, I'm going through some problems with my knee right now, so I'm really not able to ride. But
Okay.
when I was riding steady, I was riding about 7,500 miles a week.
Okay. So is that basically your stress relief? What's your stress releaser?
The bike,
The bike?
all three of those really. And again, I don't do as often as enough. Well, I don't do as often as I'd like. It's also going to the range. I have a fair amount of weapons, rifles, pistols,
Okay. Well,
shotguns.
that'll take some stress. That
Yeah, yeah, that'll
good.
that'll take some stress out. Oh, the cycling is really great for it.
Yeah, it is.
You go ride a bike for a couple 3 hours.
Yeah.
Go do a 45-mile ride. You come back and your stress is all gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah. All right. My last question, this is an interesting one. What's something most people misunderstand about you?
What is it that most people misunderstand about me?
Yeah. If they,
Um,
you spend time with them, or what is something that they misunderstand about you? Take your time.
I hear, and I don't hear this so much from clients, but I hear this like from, I guess, people that I know. It's like they get me as somewhat intense and intimidating, and
That's a big,
I mean, I don't see it. I don't see myself as
well,
intimidating.
that's a big misunderstanding. That's perfect. I mean,
Um, I am intense, and I
right,
guess that can be intimidating,
right.
but it's mainly in my drive. Like one of the things that I've discovered is you can have results or reasons why not. I
Mhm.
could care less about reasons why not. There are a million, there are a dime a dozen. Anybody can make them up. I wasn't feeling good. The moon wasn't right. My canary had a hangnail. The mood wasn't right. My mama locked me in the glove compartment when I was 2 years old. That's why. It's
Right,
about as good as anything else. So produce the results or don't,
right,
but I don't want to hear your story. I was just
right.
meeting with a client's accounting firm, And I was like, so why wasn't this done? It's due by this date. And one of the guys said, well, we had this and we had that. I said, what are you giving me? So what are you telling me right now? Well, I'm telling you the reasons why we couldn't get it. I said, exactly. Give me excuses why not. And what
Yeah.
have we always talked about? Results, not reasons why not. And right now you give me reasons why not. So
Yeah.
stop. Don't want to hear it.
Well, it's like I said in the beginning, our businesses and most businesses really parallel with all that stuff about results. Okay. Like I'm trying to teach people how to, again, lose weight, gain energy in 8 weeks. And all of a sudden they're drinking a 6 pack a night. Okay. Well, how you expect to get to that goal that you want? It doesn't just, you got to work at it.
Yeah.
You
You're gonna
know,
have to make it some sacrifices.
yes, you
Yeah,
definitely do.
you can't put, bad gas in your car, expect it to be high performing.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice. Well, Cary, thank you. I want to just, before we go, I'm going to just, is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to just say to the audience?
Um, yeah, one thing I've learned is that if you never declare what will satisfy you, you will never be satisfied.
Awesome.
And most people never take the time to say, if XYZ happens, I'll be satisfied. In this area, if XYZ happens, I'll be satisfied.
Right.
Most people walk around with this, if only my life were more, better, different, I'd be happy. But they never define more, better, or different. Especially in what you coach people on, how to lose weight, have more energy, feel better. If you never define what will satisfy you in the area of body, physical
Yep.
fitness, you'll
Mm-hmm.
never be happy.
Nope.
I want to start working out. I want 6 pack abs. Okay, let's be realistic. If you're not in your 20s, that probably ain't happening.
That's why, when I kicked this, I guess the age is, the CEOs and the performance driven. And that's why I named this the High Performance Man podcast, because I want to relate to some of the people that have the same things as me. Okay.
Right.
Well, have that drive and that accountability and everything else that goes with having a successful business and helping people. Okay.
Right.
So, and that's why I developed this podcast. And I've been learning so much with the people that I've had on it so far. And it's the range is unbelievable from the businesses that I get. So, but,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Well,
Great.
thank you for joining us on the High Performance Man podcast. As a reminder, this show is brought to you by the Prime Performance Method, where I help high performing men rebuild their strength, energy, and confidence without sacrificing their careers. If you are ready to feel as strong in your body as you are in your business, message me, John Fayocavitz, on LinkedIn. Until the next episode, perform strong in all areas of your life. And again, Cary, thank you so much. I so appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me, John. Enjoyed the conversation.